Hey everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files, coming at you today with a new video. And today I wanted to talk about this past weekend when I got to see King Kong vs. Godzilla in theaters. This was a very busy weekend for me. Well, this past weekend I should say. I got to see the Avengers Infinity War, which I would strongly recommend if you haven't seen it. I'll be taking my girlfriend again when she comes back up this week, so I'm really excited to see it with her. The other big thing, as I just said, I got to see King Kong vs. Godzilla in theaters with my dad. And this is something I've been planning to see with him for a while. I was trying to kind of keep it a surprise for as long as possible, and I do have to thank him for not looking on the website because I did have to send him the address to this place because I didn't know where it was and he had an idea how to get there. And the reason why I took my dad was, one, he is a driving force why I like movies, and also he is what got me into Godzilla, you know, showing me different movies and just, like I said, getting me into movies in general. So it was kind of fun to take him to the movies. Another kind of cool thing I should say is when we were talking before the movie started, he was telling me how he remembered going to the films with my Uncle Robert, and this was one of the movies that he saw as a kid. So I thought, you know, it's crazy to think that he got to see like when it was originally released, and now we got to see it again. So it was nice to, I guess, share this experience with each other, so I really like that a lot. So I saw this in New York City at the Metrograph, and let me just say this, I have never been there. This was my first time, and overall I thought it was great. This is a very nice theater. The prices were good for the candy, for the soda, and it also seemed like there was other things to do there. They had like a bar, they had a restaurant upstairs, and even a bookstore. So I feel like this was kind of a really cool little area. They also don't play, you know, new releases. They actually play older films. Like I saw previews for Taxi Driver and some other films like that coming out. I think another one was The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. So that was kind of cool. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're in the New York City area. I know I'll definitely be going to a couple of other shows. So before I kind of talk about the movie itself, I just also wanted to kind of talk about how fun it was to actually be in a theater with a bunch of fans watching the film. I think we all kind of sit at home and watch the film, and it's a completely different experience when you're in a theater. And I know that isn't shocking to many people, but it was really fun watching the film and seeing everyone react and hearing everyone react. Like, you know, people were laughing, people were cheering, you know, my dad was having a good time next to me. You know, it was just a really fun time. And the other thing is that it was nice to see that there was a lot of people. You know, I didn't know how many people were actually going to show up, and I was really curious about that, believe it or not, and also what kind of people would show up. And I have to say it was a nice mix. You know, we had an older group, you know, some people like my dad's age, and also their kids with them, and you know, these kids were pretty young, and for the most part I have to say they sat through the film and they watched it and they were all really good. So that was great to see. And it was also nice to see that younger kids were getting exposed to Godzilla, and then also there were kids, you know, I guess kids my age. I'm 30, I don't know if I'm really considered a kid anymore, but you know, there were people my age. You know, it was nice kind of seeing them and how they react. So, you know, overall it was a very different experience from just sitting at home and watching a Godzilla film. So I would strongly recommend getting out there and seeing a Godzilla film in theaters if you can. I know that's kind of hard because they're not playing everywhere, and you kind of need to find like a local small theater, but it's definitely worth it. As for the film itself, you know, what's there to say? It is a classic. I really love the Americanized version of this film. It is probably one of the first Godzilla films that I've seen, you know, so it holds a special place in my heart. It's great. It has everything you like, you know, and I also think this is a great starting point for kids and adults alike because it is a fun, entertaining film. You know, it's not too dark. The fight scenes are great. You know, there is humor throughout this film, and it is definitely, you know, the prototype of what the Showa Godzilla films were going to be moving forward. And I don't have a problem with that, to be honest with you. I know some people might, but I really like this film a lot. Not to say that some things haven't aged poorly. You know, when they're handing out cigarettes to everybody.
Things all right?
It's okay. They're all smoking.
That scene is definitely cringy, you know, and it's obviously from a different period of time, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly. But when you're in a theater with all a bunch of kids who you definitely don't want them getting the idea that smoking is good, that part does kind of stick out. And honestly, there are funny moments in this film. You know, I actually think it's probably one of the funnier Showa films. You know, King Kong himself is hilarious in my opinion. I know me and my dad were laughing at pretty much everything he did. The other thing is, I think the Americanized version is actually a better version than the Japanese. This past year I got to watch a Japanese film, and I did enjoy it, but I kind of felt that it just kind of moved along in a very weird pace. This cut is very very fast. You know, it doesn't fool around. Now, that's not to say that I don't have issues with it. Like, cutting back to the UN newsroom is kind of, you know, it kind of sucks. But, you know what, I can get through with that. Some of those scenes are funny in an unintentional kind of way. Overall, very good film, probably one of the best ones. This is definitely a film that I can rewatch over and over again, so I would strongly recommend doing that if you have it, because it's just that great of a film. The other thing is, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different. It's not so much a movie review, but it was just kind of, you know, an experience that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about and kind of share with you. So, as always, I hope you enjoyed this film. Well, enjoyed this video, I should say. And I will talk to you all later.